If you're thinking about starting a clothing brand, I'm not actually here to hype you up. I'm here to save you time, money, and a whole lot of stress that you won't be able to learn through unless the trials and tribulations or somebody like me is telling you. See, I've built many brands for the last year, right? Some of my own and hundreds, if not thousands of others through my company, Limitless MFG, which is the 6th fastest growing manufacturer currently in America. And I wish somebody had told me some of this information before I ever got started. Honestly, I had to learn most of this stuff kind of the hard way, right? So let me give you the 5 things that I wish somebody had told me about before I ever first dropped my T. The first thing I'm going to touch on might be kind of rough and tough to hear, but nobody cares about your brand yet. See, when I first started, I thought that everyone was going to go crazy when I dropped my first collection. Friends, family, random people online. I thought they'd all want it and they'd all want to jump on and just buy it, right? Now, reality check. I woke up the very next day. I had 0 online sales, right? I thought I was kind of a failure at that point. And the point of that was basically nobody cared yet. And that's the important thing. Because what I learned through that was people don't just buy t-shirts. They buy what wearing that t-shirt actually says about them, right? And what that t-shirt says to other people who look at them, right? What will they think about it? And the importance of that revolves all around the brand identity that you're building, right? What does your t-shirt stand for? How does it make somebody feel? What does it make the consumers think about when they see that t-shirt? So instead of trying to convince people to care, you need to just build something that makes them feel seen, right? In essence, you need to build identity and not build inventory. So if you can make one person proud to wear your logo, that's your first real customer, right? Not the person that pity bought it because they're your friend or they're your family and they only wear it when they're around you. You need to make somebody feel proud. And ideally somebody you don't even know, somebody that doesn't even live in the same state, somebody that's not even on your Instagram, close friends list or whatever it is, right? That's going to be your first real customer. And that person's going to be a lot more powerful than your brother or sister who wears your t-shirt to school. The second thing that I want to go over is design is only 10% of the business. See, I used to think that being creative was enough, right? That if I make a good design, then I'd win. And sadly, that's just not the truth. That's not the truth at all. I know the sickest graphic designers that have tried to sell product on their own, and it just always fails. And that leads to burnout in a bad way, right? And it makes them kind of feel uninspired and almost feel like they need to give up, right? But these designers are some of the craziest graphic designers that I've ever met, right? The truth is, design is maybe only 10% of what actually makes a brand work. The rest is the system and the identity of the brand, right? So, on the system, I'm talking the fulfillment, the email marketing, the website flow, the customer service, the storytelling, the cadence of the releases, the cohesion and everything, right? The community that's actually being built through the brand. Because at the end of the day, when you're building a brand, what you're really doing is building a community that you can then kind of turn into a commodity, right? You build a brand and then you serve the community of the brand, followers, and the consumers, something that they can actually purchase that then makes them feel closer to the brand. So they need to lock into something that gives them a sense of identity, right? That's the core, that's the essence of what you're doing. You're just wrapping it around a t-shirt or a hat or some sort of apparel or product items, right? And this is why so many brands burn out. They focus so heavily on the art and not the engine, when in fact, you need both to have the success, right? And if you have a good art, it makes that success just a little bit easier, but it's only about 10% easier. The third thing that we're going to focus on is your pricing and margins is what will make or break you. Most new brands underprice themselves drastically because they're scared that people won't buy. Now, Here's a little news flash for you. It's not 2010, it's not 2015, right? Time of recording this, it's Q4 2025, right? So a $30 t-shirt, which used to be kind of a going rate back then in the day, is not worth the same in today's world as it was then. Right? We got inflation, we got tariffs, everything's changing, right? So a $30 t-shirt or a hoodie or whatever, it's going to price you out of the market. And you think, oh, well, this is cheap. So many people are going to buy it and afford it, all that sort of stuff. You're thinking about it in the wrong way, unfortunately, right? A $30 t-shirt, you're going to say it's cheap. And odds are it's probably going to feel cheap and look cheap. And it's going to provide a cheap experience for the customer when that's not what you want to do, right? When you price too low, you kill the ability to grow. So if you're getting the cheapest blank, putting the cheapest print on it, all that sort of stuff, and you're selling it for a cheap price, or even if you're getting an expensive blank and an expensive print and all that sort of stuff, and you're still selling it for too low, you're not going to have that extra room for margin for when you need to hire, for when you need to start a real marketing rollout, right? For the ability to actually scale and grow your brand. You're just going to shoot yourself in the foot because you don't have any room to play. You don't have any room to grow. And if somebody's, if you're trying to sell a product at $35 and you're contemplating, should I go up to $40? If that $5 is really going to make the whole entire difference in the world to the consumers, you're probably targeting the wrong consumers. And in fact, I would strongly even suggest that you kind of take a look at that. And, if you already have a laundry list of customers that have been shopping for you, use a $5 discount in your email or SMS marketing, right? But you're probably not in that point yet. And that's why you're watching this video. Just know the dangers of undervaluing and underpricing your products. It's doing you more of a disservice than it is doing you a favor or a real service. So stop thinking that cheap equals more customers. And you need to price based on value, not on fear. Otherwise, there's going to be no room for this thing. Think about it like this. If your hoodie costs you $25 to make, sell it for $70 to $90 and don't apologize for it. Deliver the experience to the customer that actually matches that $70 to $90 hoodie. Give them all the bells and whistles. Give them the freebies. Treat them like they are coveted, right? Give them the real experience. Give them the thank you cards. Reach out to them personally. Thank them for their purchase, right? And now, you might only be able to do this for a short time until you really start to grow, right? But when you're first early on and you're hunting for your first 100 true customers that are going to be able to be repeat buyers, treat every single one of those people that come through that door like they are royalty, like they mean the world to you. Because if you want this to be the path that you choose in life, you're going to have to do it. And you can't take your customers for granted at all. And additionally, you need to price correctly, because if those 100 customers all come in and you're only making $5 a piece, you're making $500 and you think that you're going to be able to grow and scale this thing, it might be able to fund a quick little small t-shirt run, and that's going to be helpful, but you need a little bit more room to play. The next thing I want to go over is the brand is built in between the drops. The drops themselves are not what builds the brand. Everybody focuses hard on launch day, right? The hype, the drop, the Instagram and TikTok rollout, that's where everybody spends their focus when they're first getting started. But what builds a real brand is what actually happens in between those drops. The storytelling, the behind the scenes, the way you make your audience feel like they're actually a part of something bigger than just another t-shirt. If somebody just wanted another t-shirt, you can walk over to Dillard's or you can walk into Target or TJ Maxx or whatever and go ahead and get yourself another t-shirt. Right? Or you can get on Amazon and buy one and have it received to you. And, for me, I can buy a t-shirt and get it literally same day, a couple hours later. Right? Like if that's what I wanted, that's what I'd do. But the purpose of these people going onto your website, spending time on your social media pages and purchasing something is because they're finding something that actually speaks to them and speaks a different level to them than that Amazon t-shirt does. They're joining a real community. They're buying into a real brand, right? They realize that they're just not a being commoditized the way that Target or Amazon is going to do to them, right? And that means you don't need a drop every week, right? Consistency is important, but you don't need a drop every week. And in fact, that's going to be overkill. It's going to be too much, and that's not going to be sustainable. You need to make every drop mean something, though, and it needs to be powerful. So powerful that a consumer, it feels like every drop is telling them a story, right? It's like it's a movie to them. It's a TV show to them. That's how your drop should feel. Go look at all your favorite big brands right now that are pushing hard on TikTok and pushing hard on Instagram, and watch their rollouts every time that they have a new release. It's not just 3 posts, right? It's a cohesive rollout. A guy that's doing this extremely well right now is Marshall Cruz. I think I'm saying his name right. Marshall Cruz has this fitness-inspired streetwear brand, and his rollouts are amazing. Another really good page is Basket Case. Their rollouts are phenomenal, right? These are the things that you need to focus and try to implement to the best of your ability. Now, the 5th thing that I'm going to touch on is treat it like it's a business and not just your dream. They can be both, right? But if you treat it like it's your dream and you forget to treat it like a business, it's always just going to be a dream, right? But if you begin to try to treat this like it's a real business, you start building a backbone to this thing, that's where it's actually going to be able to grow, have some legs, and start running on its own, right? And this one hurts to learn. I used to treat my brand like it was an art project, something I'd pour into when I felt inspired, right? But once I started treating it like it's an actual business, setting margins, scheduling drops, hiring help, tracking every dollar that I was spending and receiving, that's when it actually became real, That's when the tides turned a little bit. That's when I could actually start, focusing on, hey, I've got something here. How can I work this to actually kind of grow it and drive it into, into me chasing and accomplishing some of my dreams, right? But up until that point, it was difficult. It was very, very difficult. So if you want your brand to actually end up paying you like a business, you're going to have to treat it like it's a business and not the other way around. So I'm saying all of this, right? And in closing, basically, if you're starting a clothing brand, take this as a reality check for you, because it's not about hype. At the end of the day, hype has very little to do with it. I know countless brands that are doing $10,000 a month and have not gone viral and have not had celebrities wear their stuff. And if you want to learn how to do that, I've got another video, and I'll link it at the end of this one. But it's about systems at the end of the day, right? It's a business, and businesses revolve around systems and always optimizing those. And it's about storytelling and discipline and persistence to stay at it even on the days that you don't want to. And if you need help building something that lasts, not just another side hustle, that's what I do every day here at Limitless MFG. You can always feel free to get in contact with me. I've got all the links down below in the description. Go ahead, follow along with our journey, hit subscribe, and let's build something that actually means something for you, for me, and for your consumers. All right, guys, thank you.